Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of USBN Basketball Weekly. I'm your host, Nick Pierce. Glad to have you along here for another edition as we continue to highlight professional basketball from outside the NBA and the G League and bring you the best in pro basketball all around the United States here on the USBN. Coming up on this week's show, we are going to welcome in a special guest, last year's MVP of the Maximum Basketball League, Mikquell Jackson, will join us here shortly as he'll talk about his season to this point and the Michigan Avengers, his club looking to get back and repeat as NBL champions again this year as they gear up for the postseason, coming off a big win last week. If you want to be featured on the show, you're a professional basketball player or coach and want to have your team featured on USBN Basketball Weekly, reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. USBN on social media, Twitter at the USBN, Facebook at USBN, and email. You can reach out to us that way, info@usbn.pro. Of course, also, you can follow us right here on YouTube and find us at USBN TV. That's where USBN Basketball Weekly will come your way each and every week. And we are, like I said, glad to have you along here as we continue to spotlight professional basketball from around the country. And, of course, we want to highlight pro players and teams in the United States not affiliated with the NBA. We're working to name a national champion this year in the 2022 United States Basketball Championship. And the Michigan Avengers, one of the teams we're going to talk about today, they're 8-1 on the season, and they're primed to compete in the postseason again in the NBL, looking to make it back-to-back championships. Not bad for a team that's only been in existence for 2 seasons. So teams just like that, that's who we want to highlight on this program through this network, and we want to continue to strive to crown a United States champion and create opportunities for players here in America that, a lot of times players leave, they go overseas, they get those contracts, they have to make tough decisions. We're going to hear about that a little bit today when Mikquell joins us here in just a few minutes. But we want to make it a little easier for them and create opportunities for players to stay here at home, make a name for themselves, and maybe move up and get an opportunity one day to compete in the NBA or the G League, possibly. Never has there been a network for just American players and teams outside of the NBA and the G League. So I encourage you all to reach out to us, subscribe, share the links to this show, and follow along with us each and every week here on USBN Basketball Weekly. USBN Basketball Weekly continues now with this week's special guest, Mikquell Jackson from the Michigan Avengers in the Maximum Basketball League. They're doing big things up there. They are running that league. Only a second-year franchise. Won the championship last year, just qualified for the postseason again, and coming off a big win over the Lansing All-Stars, 137-91 last Saturday. So as we take a look around the nation, this is another team that the United States Basketball Championship would certainly be taken into consideration for the tournament coming up a little later this year. Mikquell, appreciate you taking a few moments here for us. How are you, sir?
I'm doing wonderful, man. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, you're having a big year, man. I guess you are doing wonderful. You're averaging a little over 30 points a game. You had 27 and 12 in that big win over the Lansing All-Stars the other day. How are you feeling heading into the postseason?
Oh, I'm feeling really good. A lot of stuff couldn't be done without the teammates, of course. And they do things that doesn't even show up in the stats. So I give a lot of credit to my team.
Yeah, how about this? A second-year team, and you guys are just running the Maximum Basketball League. I've got you guys. What was it? 8-1 this year, or am I off on that? What's your record?
No,
year?
it's absolutely right. 8-1.
Okay.
We had a few games canceled on us due to like COVID protocols and stuff like that. But yep, we're 8-1. We lost to a home team actually.
So you guys won the championship last year. You're pretty much dominating this league. So when you hear about the United States Basketball Network and the idea of taking the best teams from the best leagues, the professional leagues around the country, putting them together in a championship tournament setting, does that excite you?
Absolutely. Anytime you get a chance to play some new competition or you get a chance to actually meet some new guys. I mean, for me, basketball is about the brotherhood, the fellowship that it brings. You get to meet people from all across life and different states and sometimes different countries that you probably would never get a chance to meet without the sport, for real.
We're going to talk a little bit more about that here in just a bit as we're visiting with Mikquell Jackson from the Michigan Avengers, coming off a huge game here this past week against the Lansing All-Stars. Let's talk a little bit about your journey, though, give people a chance to get to know you a little bit here. You come from King College, 2016 graduate.
Yes.
When you finished up playing college basketball and you're returning your sights to professional basketball, what were your options?
So, just like anybody else, when you graduate that university, you get all type of emails and letters coming out wanting you to go to different mini camps and stuff like that for overseas teams. And I had a couple of good options. I wanted to play for, I think the one that I wanted to do the most was Windsor Express. They're a Canada team. And mainly because it was close to home. I had just had a daughter, my graduating year, I had a daughter. So I didn't want to too much leave, and like go to Spain or New Mexico or like somewhere that was like really far over there and then have to figure out how I'm gonna raise my kid and like miss important parts of her life. So I decided not to take any long-term, if you will, or far away jobs with the overseas stuff. I think the best offer I had was there was a team in China that wanted me to come watch me play in this tournament up north here in Michigan. And they offered me $80,000 a year. And I kind of turned it down. The money was never the option. I think for me, it was all about, like I said, playing against new guys and the experience. But my child meant more than, any type of money for real.
Yeah, that's such a hard spot to be in, Mikquell. And I think you're not alone. I think there's a lot of players around this great country that face those same dilemmas, and the money seems to be overseas right now. If you can't get to the NBA, if you can't get to the G League, or maybe you're looking for that opportunity and it's not there yet, so many times guys have to leave. Well, when you think about what the United States Basketball Network is trying to accomplish here and put on this tournament, not really a league per se, but a league format. I mean, you think about that, this is something that's kind of long overdue, is it not?
Absolutely. I feel like for other countries to be less fortunate than us in some areas, we should have had something that was like for guys that went D2, D3 who actually had game but didn't have height, or who had height but didn't have as much experience. You know what I'm saying? Like something like that should have definitely already been into play for us here in America, like here in the States.
And that's such a great point because, I cover Division I college basketball on a regular basis. And yeah, you see these guys at the high level, the high major schools, they get the NBA contracts. They're the first round picks. They get all the money, but there's so much talent beyond that and such quality basketball, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And then, like I said, a lot of guys wasn't blessed to be 6'7", 6'8". You know what I'm saying? Like for myself, I'm 6'1", but I can play with the best of them. But without that height, we get kind of overlooked a little bit. You get a guy that's 6'7" that can give you the same thing a guy 6'1" can do. Of course, they're going to go with the guy that's 6'7". It just looks better on paper. It looks better on the roster. So we kind of all get the short hand of the stick sometimes.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you got about 500 guys in the NBA right now, and then a few more in the G League. But, I see it all the time. I mean, Division I college basketball, particularly with the mid-majors, sometimes there's not a lot of difference from that Division I level to some of the high-end competition at Division II and sometimes even Division III. So, I mean,
absolutely.
I think having something like this where the Avengers can be part of, some of these other teams from around the country in different leagues. I think this is an idea that's time has come. That said, tell us about your Michigan Avengers team. Tell us about what you guys bring to what style of play, for folks that, are going to be checking out the USBC a little bit later on this year, assuming the Avengers are part of this. What style of play do you guys offer?
For us, we kind of do a little bit of both. We're a little bit exciting, but we're a little bit of poised. I think we try to use our IQ more than skill. You get those teams that's kind of just real more skilled than the other team, but don't really have the fundamental part of it. And I think we kind of bring a very good balance of both. Like sometimes we like to play real loose, a little loose style where we getting up and down, but then we also have sets where we can kind of slow it down into a half court set and get a bucket out of a play or something like that. So we're kind of both styles, you know, and we love to take advantage of mismatches. You know, there's always we got guards that can post up, we got bigs that can shoot it. You know what I'm saying? So like we're not the typical team where you're like, okay, he's gonna play down low and he's gonna play up top. We kind of switch it around a little bit and we take advantage of whatever mismatches we can get.
Yeah, and just to be able to have an opportunity, I think, for you guys to test that against other teams. I mean, like I said, you guys have been running the NBL now for just 2 years. And, you know, you probably have an idea what you're going to see every day, but to go out there and test it against other teams, maybe like the Georgia Kangaroos or the, you know, the Georgia Spartans, the Atlanta Legends, you know, some of those teams we've been talking about here on the show, I think that'd be really fun to see.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We went down and played the Kangaroos and their setup was so nice. The gym was real nice. And them guys actually played really good. I never would have thought, you know, with a team who doesn't get a chance to practice as much and stuff like that, like they played really, really well. I was really pleased to actually have a chance to play against them.
Talk about your team here a little bit, Mikquell. Again, you know, Avengers running the NBL. You guys have playoffs coming up here February 19th. A little bit of a layoff, though. You know, how are you guys going to stay not motivated? You're obviously motivated, but in shape and just ready to get things going in the postseason?
So last year we went undefeated. You know, I was named MVP of the NBL, which was really nice. This year we're off to an 8-1 start, as you mentioned. And then, you know, with this layoff, we're kind of finding different tournaments that's going on. You know, we got invited to a tournament down in Indiana this upcoming weekend. It's a Saturday. We're supposed to play 2 games. And then we got invited to another tournament in Virginia Beach, February 4th. So, you know, even with the little downtime, we're still trying to get out and do other things, maybe coordinate with some other teams, some different teams, stuff like that, just to keep us kind of sharp on our toes. So, you know, just so that we don't really get, like you said, lackadaisical or anything like that.
And what do you think a postseason run would do to help prepare you guys to play in the U.S. Basketball Championship?
I mean, like I said, just keeping us together, making sure that we stay familiar with each other, continue to grow within the organization, and then if we're able to transition over, you know, into the other league, then I think that'll be fine, because at that point it gives us a chance to, like you said, play some new guys, some new teams, to get some film for some of the guys that's still looking to get overseas, maybe meet some new talent, some new agents, something like that. So I think it'll be really well.
Yeah, I think the exposure aspect of it, being on national television potentially, you know, for some of these games. I mean, you think about that, that's got to really excite you. I mean, to think about that exposure and then, you know, the potential, the money that can be made for everybody off of that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Anytime you can create some revenue for, you know, doing something you love is always a plus in my book. But, you know, the national exposure, as you mentioned, that's definitely something good, because nowadays, like as we're talking, you know, teams overseas, they want you to have some type of resume. Like they want to know, if we bring you, you know, from your country to our country, that you're going to be the superstar guy that we need to, I don't know, maybe save a team or to put fans in the seats or whatever the situation is. Like they're going to want to know that you can perform. So, you know, having that national exposure, having that television, that televised exposure will be really well.
Yeah, and hopefully be able to make some of that money here in the United States instead of having to make a tough decision like you did, you know, staying home for your daughter.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, anytime we can travel, you know, here in States, it's always good. You get to see your family a lot, maybe even bring them along. You know, where I grew up at, you know, we didn't get a chance to travel as much. You know what I'm saying? So that's something I always intended on doing with my kids as they grow older. You know, take them to different states and let them see different things and different little monuments, stuff like that. So that'll be perfect.
Great stuff. Hey, Mikquell, appreciate your time. Congrats on all the success so far. You're an MVP, a champion, and trying to repeat here again. We wish the Michigan Avengers nothing but the best coming up here in the postseason, and look forward to hopefully watching you guys play here in the USBC in the coming months.
Oh, man, I can't wait, man. Thank you for having me.
And once again, a big thanks to Mikquell Jackson for joining us. And again, we do wish him all the best. And the Michigan Avengers coming up in the NBL, and hopefully see the Avengers in the United States Basketball Championship coming up here later this year. For Mikquell and for all of us at USBN Basketball Weekly, I'm Nick Pierce. We'll see you once again here next week on USBN Basketball Weekly. Till then, so long, everybody.